Yo, God, the thing goes skrrrr, pop, 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 skitty kid pop, pop, and the poop poop boom.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
And holy fuck, full-time family, I had to bring back the ting going skrrrat because it is going down right now on one of the last stylebender Israel Adesanya's most recent post on Instagram. He posted a video of Brendan Schaub critiquing some of the newer strikers coming to the UFC, and I believe Brendan Schaub was actually talking about Gokhan Saki in the clip, but Israel Adesanya may have took it a little personal and thought he was talking about him. If I remember correctly, he was talking about Gokhan Saki. Gokhan Saki was more of a one-dimensional kickboxer who still had a lot of hype because he was a legend in the kickboxing arena, but he came to the UFC, won his first fight via KO, but then he got knocked out in the first round by Khalil Roundtree at UFC 226. So Brendan Schaub was just giving his opinions on the subject on his podcast, just his honest opinion. Whether he's right or wrong, he was literally just giving his opinion, so it really shouldn't matter. Now, Israel Adesanya heard it, and he posted a clip of it, and he was kind of like saying, you know, you'd be surprised. That's pretty much all he said. Like, you'd be surprised to Brendan Schaub. But that was enough for Dana White to respond and go crazy on Brendan Schaub, brother. And this is the thing, Brendan Schaub and Dana White, I don't know about how Dana White feels about I don't know how Brendan Schaub feels about Dana White personally, but Dana White clearly does not fuck with Brendan Schaub at all. But this is what he had to say. You know, Israel Adesanya didn't even say much about Brendan Schaub except for like, you'd be surprised. And he was just talking, you know, Brendan Schaub was talking about the strikers and how, you know, bringing over a one-dimensional striker isn't going to work in the UFC in this day and age. But like I said, he was talking about Gokhan Saki. Israel Adesanya, in my mind, isn't a one-dimensional striker. Israel Adesanya's takedown defense is up there with some of the best fighters in the division. You know, Gokhan Saki, he wasn't defending takedowns the same way Israel Adesanya has shown that he's able to do. Also, Israel Adesanya is a lot younger in his game than a Gokhan Saki, so really it's a different situation. If Brendan Schaub was talking about Gokhan Saki in that clip, then Israel Adesanya had nothing to take personal from it, and then that means really all of this was uncalled for, but it is what it is. Israel Adesanya reposted it, and Dana White had his back. He just wanted to let him know, such a fucking tool. What the fuck does this idiot know about the sport or the business? Stylebender, for you to be listening to one word from this moron is a waste of your time. The guy went 6-5 in the UFC. The only thing he should teach you is how to get KO'd. Tune idiots like this out. Holy shit, not gonna lie, man, when I first read that, I was like, oh snap, Dana White's firing off. But I don't know if I'm on Dana White's side here, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because for one, Brendan Schaub is an actual fighter, and he actually commented back on this same post. That's why I said they're going at it in the comment section. But Brendan Schaub responded. This is what Brendan Schaub had to say. Here's some of the responses you can see through the comment section. But Brendan Schaub responded first and said, whoa, look who got a break from folding Ronda's laundry to jump on Instagram. Bravo, sir. He's right. Stylebender. What do I know? Listen to the bald fat guy who has never been in a fight in his life. Do that. He's kind of, and that's why I say he's kind of got a point, because even though Dana White is clowning him saying he went 6-5 in the UFC, he was an actual fighter. He probably knows a little bit about what he's talking about, at least enough to have a fucking opinion on his podcast, right? I mean, he was an actual fighter. If he feels like one-dimensional guys and Gokhan Saki or whoever he was talking about, let him talk about that shit. He was literally an actual fighter, and Dana White wasn't. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, in my mind, who is Dana White to tell Brendan Schaub about, like, critiquing the actual fights? Now, maybe Dana White is like you know, student of the martial arts and knows more about Brendan, you know, but I don't know if that's the case. I'm just giving Dana White the benefit of the doubt as well. But either way, Dana White responded to another fan in the comments. The fan asked Dana White, what does a guy know about the business who fought 11 times in the UFC and has become successful after his career in multiple fight-related revenues. Brendan Schaub is now a podcaster, a comedian. I believe he was about to start his own damn coffee company. You know, he's doing a lot of other things to make money outside of fighting. And so he's a guy that if you're a fighter, you actually might look up to. Hey, he didn't have the best run in the UFC. We're all not going to be Conor McGregor. So whenever we leave the sport, what are we going to do? What's an option for a fighter that leaves the sport? And real quick, full-time family, before you forget, make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying this video, and also if you're new, hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. And if you want to see more videos like this, just check out the video description, the Full-Time MMA Dojo over here at patreon.com/fulltimemma, and you can see a lot of other cool things, including the goals of this channel, which is something new, so make sure you go check that out. And with that being said, enjoy the rest of the video. Maybe get some tips from Brendan Schaub. Hey man, how can I, what's something you can tell me about this podcasting? How'd you get into stand-up comedy? And yeah, Joe Rogan might have played a part into both of those, but now Brendan Schaub has those skills and that skill set to pass on to other fighters who might have an interest in stand-up comedy. I believe, who is it? Dean Thomas. There's a lot of other fighters that not only might be interested in comedy, but podcasting. And Brendan Schaub could actually help them in that sense. So he knows a little bit of something about that. And also, being as close as he is to Joe Rogan, I'm sure he knows a little bit more. He has conversations with Joe Rogan, who knows a lot about not only fighting, but also the business. And so I wouldn't be surprised if this was literally a conversation he had with Joe Rogan in the past. Like, yeah, man, these strikers like Go Kanzaki, and then whatever he was saying in the podcast. That could be a conversation he actually had with someone that knows what they're talking about. But Dana White didn't like the fact that Israel Adesanya was taking that to heart, and so he fired off. And then I don't know where Brendan Schaub was going with the whole taking a break from folding Ronda's laundry. I know Dana White is real close with Ronda Rousey as far as, they have a good relationship because she's one of the biggest stars of the sport. She's in the Hall of Fame now, and Dana White, of course, looks out for Ronda Rousey. But at the same time, I don't know, and Brendan Schaub, he's got his own former relationship with Ronda Rousey. I don't know if that plays into this at all, and so we're not going to speculate because that's none of our fucking business. But that was interesting to see him throw her name in there. But either way, Dana White responded to the fan and said, he's successful. As soon as Rogan stops carrying him, he will disappear. And man, that might have been the case in the past, but Brendan Schaub's been locking up some big time deals, even aside from the podcasting and the the comedy. He's now got to deal with Showtime, the Big Brown show on Showtime. I forget the new name of the new show. Below the Belt with Big Brown and Below the Belt with Brendan Schaub. He's got a Showtime show now on top of everything. He's doing pretty well for himself nowadays. But either way, man, I thought that was pretty interesting that Dana White went so hard on Brendan Schaub on this post. But hey, man, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you guys think in the comments. And before we go, shout out to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit the bell right next to it so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And this is the hardest working MMA channel on YouTube. We provide daily updates, predictions, betting advice. We do songs. We do fantasy fights. We've interviewed Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley, Bruce Lachmedio, and Felony Charles Bennett, all in just 1 year as an MMA channel. We're one of the fastest growing MMA channels on the net, but we're still small, so make sure you guys go check out the Full-Time MMA Dojo if you want to learn how you can become a full-time MMA black belt. And while you're there, you can see where this MMA channel started from, some of the goals we have for the channel, and even more cool videos just like this one if you enjoyed it. So thanks again to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. And also, if you're just lurking and this is your first time seeing a video, appreciate that as well. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DOG.